enjoy you guys. I love doing the show. We gotta rework our schedule because I feel like doing these late night recordings are fucking
wonky.
Fucking silly.
Yeah, before things get too out of hand. Hi, and welcome to Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5, tabletop, and horror podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and as always, I'm joined by...
You stopped me perfectly because I was just about to start explaining Jay to the audience, but now they don't get to know.
That's okay.
I'm John.
We can save that for the upcoming patron episode. I think we'll have some extra time in that one.
Cool. I'll just have to make sure I remember.
We'll try.
I'm not going to forget.
Okay, but his name is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's an anonymous name. His name's not actually Jay.
Anonymous.
Do.
Blood magic.
That's Sarah.
Yes, hi.
I'm John.
We are talking about updates for blood sorcery because we've had a book for a while and I've read it and actually used it for things. Imagine reviewing books by reading them and then actually using them. Weird. I'm not talking shit about other people in our community of content creators for World of Darkness, not at fucking all.
That's a great idea. Water.
What?
That was very loud water. I'm going to have to edit that out.
Oh, I was doing a dramatic sip on purpose. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can leave it in if it was intentional.
It was. I was being comedic.
That one might have to get edited.
That was a dramatic sip as well.
Dramatic sip.
It's a little harsh.
What we're going to be talking about is a couple of new divisions of blood magic and also the occult market. Woo. Yay. So, we have two more major factions for blood sorcery. We'll have a couple of updates on ones that we've talked about in our Blood Magic 101 episode. So we're going to go check that shit out. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about like arcane items and what kind of characters might be built into a story to resolve things around the occult.
Ooh.
Because you can have games that involve spooky occult magic stuff and not have it be oops, all Tremere.
It's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just find stuff.
Mm-hmm. It do be like that sometimes. Or you need to find a thing.
Yeah. Or you steal a thing from the Tremere.
Yeah. Or, it's fine. I feel like I'm being judged. But
it was a gift.
Mm-hmm.
A gift.
A gift.
A gift. Note, we will be sidelining discussions about thin blood alchemy, the blood market / circulatory system, and deep diving aspects of certain clans. So that info can, handled in other episodes. Because thin blood stuff will happen when thin bloods happen. If you want that shit, vote for it, please.
Yeah.
Blood Sigils is a very dense book with a lot of info, and we don't have time for all of it.
I mean, technically, they are inevitable, but it could be a year or two, depending on how the votes go. So,
it's up to the patrons. Pay us money to let us know how you want the show to go. Anywho.
Yeah.
Content warning, usual occult bullshit, as well as blood sacrifices, cultic abuse, and drug use. Woo.
Yeah.
Sources. Most of it will be blood sigils. I've also delved into the Player's Guide to the High Clans, Rites of Blood, Blood Sacrifice, Thaumaturgy Companion, Blood Magic, Secrets of Thaumaturgy, the V5 Player's Guide, Libus Sanguine 3, Wolves at the Door, Cairo by Night, VTM, Dark Ages 20th Anniversary, the 20th Anniversary of the Regular Vampire, Tome of Secrets, Sins of Blood, Clan Book Zamitzi Revised, Clan Book Setite Revised, Chicago Folios for V5, Let the Streets Run Red, Mage the Ascension, and the Second Inquisition books.
Nice. Sarah, I'm not going to lie. I got like 4 books into it.
Yep.
And then I just kind of was like, huh. And I started scrolling down in the script.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't want to get H-bombed, so I have to list my sources.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I was pulled back with Zamitzi. I heard Clans of Zamitzi, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, we're talking about books.
Yay!"
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was supposed to be just diving into a book or two, but then, as I'm wont to do, I fell down a rabbit hole and was like, "Fuck."
I mean, it is blood sorcery.
Yeah,
we could probably dedicate 4 episodes to it if we wanted.
There will be. This is gonna
many more.
This is going to be a whole series, unfortunately, or fortunately. I don't know, but yeah. So starting off, we're going to talk about Furcus / Nexus / ley lines.
Neat. I like ley lines.
Ley lines are fun. If you want info on these, there's in the Sigils book, page 36, and then also on page 150. There's also info on the Player's Guide on page 112. If you want to go look at the OG sources. So Furcus translates to fork.
Exciting.
In Latin. These can also be referred to as a nexus. Furcus is the Tremere term for a split in a ley line, and it's similar to a fork in a river.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I trust it.
I'm shocked.
They probably stole the term from someone.
Yeah, Latin.
Latin.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Yeah, as they are wont to do.
We covered that.
Just now. These Ferguses are places that have a wide range of magical effects. In the books, they note this can cause random changes in blood bonds during rituals. There could just be a growth of weird red mold.
Cool.
Looking at you, Joanne. Sudden deaths of animals in the area, especially bees.
Interesting.
Increase in ghost activity among whatever other magical occult bullshit you want to ascribe to this area of intense energies and things.
It's kind of all the shit that's supposed to happen around ley lines in real world magic.
Yeah.
The weird red mold is one that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that
That's
and was like,
strange.
It's very
That's ominous.
control feeling for anyone who's played that. That's also just my brain. The bees also make me think of the Secret World, which definitely just was like a World of Darkness MMO secretly. But
yeah, I played that a little bit. It was fun.
yeah, there are a lot of bees though in that.
A lot of bees.
They're good guys though.
Yeah.
Positive bees.
Bees are
Bees
usually
always
good guys.
positive.
Yeah.
I can't think of any time that they aren't.
When you're highly allergic.
Well, they're not the bad guys. Your immune system is then.
Oh no! Fair. So continuing on with the ley line discussions, we also have the pendunculus.
I like that word.
Pendunculus is a good word.
Pendunculus!
This is also referred to as quote-unquote the stem. This is a larger vein of a ley line that smaller furcus may branch from.
Okay,
Oh,
so
neat.
that's the main ley line, and then the furcuses are what fork
Like-
off.
Well, it sounds like it's just the larger branch. So it would turn into a furcus, and then if there was a furcus later on, that part that turned into the furcus would be a pendunculus.
Yeah.
Just like rivers, right? So it's always the river, but there's a fork in the river.
Interesting.
And then the forks meet, and then they make a fatter river.
I don't know if I'm tired, but I have already lost this. That's fine though. We can keep going.
Yeah.
I could draw a picture.
If you wish, I can't stop you. You're on the other side of the table.
This is an audio medium.
The pendunculus all will converge in various ways to create what is known as the venae terrae,
Venetere.
or veins of the earth in Latin.
Cool.
Other groups and cultures might refer to this as the blood serpent,
Cool.
the blood dragon,
Also cool.
just Tiamat,
Ah.
and other terms. Yeah, I read that and went, oh,
I don't love the Tiamat.
the Tiamat one's concerning.
It is a little bit.
But overall, this is the patterns of magical energy flowing around the globe, encircling it, snaking.
Like rivers.
Yeah.
Rivers of energy.
Any singular vein may be referred to as a vena, vine, or ley line.
I like it.
Yeah. So those are the terms for when you're talking about and dealing these things. The books left what a ley line fucking is extraordinarily vague. I am assuming for storyteller purposes. Do with this what you will for your chronicles. That's the information we had. But this is important because we're going to talk about one of John's favorite things called Caldonic sorcery.
Yeah.
You could also look up a real map of supposed ley lines and just use those if you want.
Yeah, I've mostly known them as fairy roads growing up. Woo.
What's cool is if you do that, you can find all kinds of weird shit that people say happened on them, and then you say yes and you've already got that part of the story done.
Yeah, isn't there a ley line that goes through the Bass Pro Shop pyramid?
I think so. I know there's also one nearby or at Loch Ness, I believe.
Yeah, that's why Aleister Crowley made his wank hut.
Nice. I think there's supposedly one around the pyramids too.
Of course.
Yeah, they're interesting. I got a whole book about them, but I haven't read them since I was like 15. So
Yeah, you can find tons of deranged books and websites to pull information for your games if you so desire.
John just dropped a map in the patron chat without explanation of ley lines in the U.S. So have fun with that.
Yay!
I wonder if anyone will guess what that means. I
Yeah,
like that.
It's not labeled.
I like that we just throw shit in there.
While we're recording.
And it's not even really like a motivation to like go check it out and join the patron chat, just because like they have no clue what it is either until it's like
Oh.
they'll find out in like a week or so. They'll be like, huh, oh, okay.
I like
It's
to assume
fun.
when the episodes finally drop, the patrons just start scrolling through the patron chat, just being like, what the fuck did they drop?
If you want a hint at what might come out within a month of us posting a random photo, that's the channel to check out.
Fantastic. So, Caldonic sorcery. I'm going to give a small TLDR. Coldoons practice a form of blood sorcery where their focus is binding the 5 elemental forces, earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, to themselves through willpower and blood. This art is said to have been practiced since the Knights of the Second City and has died out throughout the Middle Ages with the rise of vicissitude, and it's kind of coming on back, baby.
Good.
So, woo!
Good.
Some nerds are digging through things and finding tomes, or they're just like going out into the woods and finding some deranged Zamitzi elder, and they're like, "Oh yes, child, come here, I'm bored."
I've been wanting to teach someone this. Like, wait, you want to?
You want to? It's like, yes, look what I can do. So it's slightly different compared to other forms of blood sorcery, where it's you and your blood doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Caldonic sorcery is more like, I am making the nature do the thing.
Right.
So
in some ways they describe it as like you're binding the spirits of those elements. So you're like, spirit of water, go flood that house. And if you are powerful enough, spirit of water will be like, got you, bro.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Just like a fucking little mook voice.
You got it, boss.
Shouldn't he have like a little like Romanian accent? And I'm like, I don't know how to do a mook Romanian accent.
Depends where you're at, though. It wouldn't make sense to be in like Brooklyn and have like a Romanian accent.
I mean, depending on what neighborhood, I guess.
I suppose, yeah.
I don't know New York City enough to know like what all immigrants live in what part of your city, so
fair.
It's cool that they're there, though. It's just I don't live there. I don't need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's too many people there for me to learn about all of them in my lifetime.
No, that's fair.
Not living there.
Yeah. If you want a history about like how Caldonic sorcery has changed over times, though, vote for the Zamitzi, and I'll talk about it on the Clan Deep Dive series. Until then, moving on.
We could give Caldinism probably its own episode. Or 5. Maybe not 5.
Do you want to write those, John?
No.
Okay.
I mean, but you can write very loose scripts, and then just like we'll come and start recording at like 10, like now.
Yeah.
And it'll just be deranged, and I can ramble through most of it. And that'll take up the hour.
There we go. So, Caldonism in previous editions had to be taught as an out-of-clan discipline in terms of XP cost. Kind of just ubiquitous across all the editions as far as I could see. Mm-hmm. And this trend kind of continues with V5, kind of.
Okay.
Because I didn't really see blood sorcery as an option to be in clan for the Zamitzi. So you're kind of still doing it.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah. Per V5, Caldonism is based and taught as a blood sorcery dot, with the first dot being focused on an element. There'll be, I was supposed to write earth, but I wrote warmth.
No, you didn't write warmth, you wrote worth.
Worth.
I was eepy. So earth, air, fire, or water, they neglected spirit.
Yeah,
which is weird, but
it is a little bit.
Spirit?
Yeah, because you're supposed to be able to like mess with the spirits and various elements and just things. They're called relics and nature spirits and things like that.
I think they wanted. To me, it makes sense that they would just leave all of that to the Hecata instead of introducing like a new way to do spirit magic.
So it's not wraiths though.
Okay.
It's like the spirit of a tree.
Spirit of things. Like if there was some sort of damning evidence about the Caldoon in this computer, he could do a ritual to tear this is old magics, but he could tear the spirit of the computer out of it, and it would break down to its essentially base components.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like I can understand the simplification. I think something maybe needs to be or could have been written for it to be like, this is the 5th dot, is you get spirit. You have to master all the elements, and then you get spirit, like the Avatar.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Otherwise, it'd be kind of, I could see, not that it's necessarily written, but I already in my head see ways to be like fucky with that. It's like, well, I don't have water, but I can talk to the water spirit and just have it do the water stuff.
So yes and no.
You just, what I'm saying though is you'd have to write so many guidelines in the system to keep people from doing that, I think, especially as a new system.
Maybe, yeah. I think that like in the old way that they wrote it, it's not bad, because they kind of give you, like most discipline powers, set powers to do with it. The Way of Spirit in the older ones is actually, we'll probably cover it at some point, but it's actually mostly focused on genus loci, where you become the nature spirit of the area. So you become aware of everything that's happening in that area, and you become...
So it's kind of like One with the Earth, that ability.
Right, except that you can like be walking around, and it's just within a circle radius around you wherever you're going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is kind of what gets yes-anded for the new stuff. So after you've bound yourself to your element, and you can do more elements the more dots you buy in the blood sorcery, you partake in a Coldonic ritual where the teacher spends a week with you or more in the wilds, where you become one with the element in some sort of way that involves meditation. They usually like to do this around the new moon. Fun, spooky stuff.
You want to know why? Less likely for lupine attacks.
Yeah. There's
They're like, well, if we do it now, they're not going to fuck with us as much.
Coldonic sorcery is happening during the new moon is the equivalent of making a basket and hanging in the tree to keep the bears from getting into it.
Yes.
It's like, new moon. I can't reach them. I can't figure it out. But yeah, the ritual will culminate with a Khaldun opening their vein and communing with the element of their choice, and thus blood bonding the element to themselves. The bonus cool thing you can do with that is essentially you get the genus loci ability, but with that element.
That's cool.
Which is super cool, but you get it in every variant of that element. So if you buy into fire, which is always a fun choice for vampires, every instance of fire or heat within a certain parameter, there is a table that explains distance to dots and things like that in the book. Right. So you can look that up. So you can like be spying on people through candles and cigarettes and water heaters and stoves and all sorts of weird shit.
Yep.
You can get kind of fun and fucky with it.
Is it, I can't remember because it's been a minute since I've read it, but is it like genus loci where you are aware of all of it at once? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So they kind of just smushed it into the other four, it sounds like.
Kind of, yeah. So it's genus loci, but it's like per element. And I did write a note about this. So the area that you're able to see is equal to the amount of ag damage that you inflict upon yourself, along with the rouse check to do the spell.
Yeah.
So the more you're just like, I'm a stab myself, the further out you can see.
Yep.
So
cut off your arm and you can see out like pretty dang far.
Yeah. And how far you can see is limited by how many dots of blood sorcery you have. So that's where I was getting my wires crossed. Yeah. So you're capped at your level of blood sorcery, but if you get high enough and you're just like, well, I can see everywhere within a mile, so fuck it. And you can do it through various elements and weaponize the whole, well, every millennial in Gen Z carries a water bottle now, so guess what I can do?
Right.
There's that. I also think the easiest one there, just a little bit of, would be air.
Air, yeah.
It's like, if it's...
Yeah, I think that...
Like, you might not catch, like, someone swimming underwater, but otherwise you're pretty much like...
I think that air... It's weird that they wrote it air because it's always been wind.
Okay.
And like that's still great. AC counts as wind. Yeah. A fan produces wind. Technically.
So, people talking and breathing would generate wind.
Right.
Yeah, so that might be we're going to call this thematically at the table situation.
But also, like, I think they did a very good job. One, making it feel like, okay, they are bound to the element and they kind of have to re-up that sacrifice each time, which is what they're doing when they're making that ag damage. I think that's a good way to balance it.
Yeah.
Is, I can fucking see everything and hear everything and taste and smell everything within a mile, but I also just cut off, like, both my legs.
And I like those legs.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to get those back.
The other kind of fun thing with this way of being able to see is the Khaldun may use this ability to see past obfuscate.
Interesting.
Hell yeah.
So it's one of the
few.
It
is genus loci.
Yeah, it's basically genus loci.
They just broke it down.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So it's genus loci, but per element.
I like that.
But yeah, which I'm like, it's beyond auspex is the only other way I'm aware of where you can see past auspex, or see past obfuscate, which is fun. And yeah, it is cool because you can stack what elements your character actually cares about and be thematic and whatever. And I enjoy that. And the cool thing is, you're also not limited on rituals. So you can reflavor and recontextualize any kind of ritual you want for your character to be a Khaldonic
ritual of whatever sort.
So if you have a character that's like, I just want to do water and that's it, I'm like, cool, you can go super wide with your rituals and you don't have to invest in the other elements if you don't want to. Or you can have a guy that's like, I'm gonna get them all. Pokemon and just shoot straight up the blood sorcery tree.
Which is also awesome.
Yeah.
I like that the rituals, at least the ones I'm remembering from the old ones, and I think some of the ones I remember from this new one, also dip into different elements sometimes. So it's almost like I don't know the way of fire, but I know this ritual that does like pretty much the same thing. I just have to do a ritual to accomplish it.
Yeah.
I think it's neat.
Yeah. So it's fun, and it's not like there's not rules in V5 to convert rituals or things from other books now into rituals for your game. I'm going to talk about that in Blood Sorcery 202, by the way, guys. I'm sorry, I made these episodes thick.
And we be rambling.
So there's also Louis Domin, which is a cult of Khaldun's following the leader Domine. I don't know if I'm saying his name correct. I apologize. Who settled in the swamps of Virginia, North Carolina in the 1740s. And this cult has turned their sights towards the ecological damage that has been brought to nature through pollution.
Hell yeah.
So they view this toxic sludge as the afterbirth of the American Kupala.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Damn.
So for those of you who are not aware, Kupala is demon that Tzimisce maybe did a pact with. That's the Tzimisce episode. I'm not going to get into it.
It's wild.
It's wild. Yeah, demons.
Demons!
I thought I was going to have to do all the demon and the Bali talk with the Tzimisce first, but nope. Other clan.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, it's not. We'll get there.
We'll get there. I'll talk about demons more properly when we get to Tzimisce. But yeah, so these Louis Domin guys seek to command the spirit of pollution through their craft, while those in the old country are kind of like also picking up on this due to just all the toxic waste and just ecological devastation left in the wake of the collapse of the Soviet Union. Oh boy!
Exciting!
Enemies for the werewolves.
Yeah.
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 So that's a fun plot thing that the Tzimisce have going on. It's just this cult that's like, what if we were just the bad guys for every episode of Captain Planet? I'm like, oh my god.
I like the idea of having it like mildly twisted as well, like playing as a Tzimisce that has similar like practices the same Caldonic sorcery, but he's doing it as like I'm going to learn to control it.
Yeah.
All of it, just keep it contained so the rest of the world doesn't get so polluted. And he just there's a landfill somewhere that's like, you don't go near that landfill.
Yeah. Speaking of, John, I pulled out a little quote for you if you want to read it.
Oh my, what?
For you.
I don't have the voice for it right now, but one voivode claimed that Chernobyl's radioactive red earth offers a whole new approach, or a whole new kind of power. But she has disappeared in Ukraine for now.
So yeah.
That's in Blood Sigils 114.
Yeah, so it was fun. We talked about radioactive vampires, and I was like, oh yeah,
Look at that.
yeah,
Bing,
came
bing,
full
bing.
circle. There's
Nice.
vampires that are like, yeah, what if I do fuck with it? And we're just like, what? No.
I knew about the pollution people. I forgot about that. That makes me very happy that there is at least one other, Khaldun out there that's like, hold on. But radiation,
But hear me out.
it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised if there's radiation, and I could be wrong, that there's not like electricity.
So electricity is just a very advanced form of fire.
I suppose so.
It's very Azula coded.
Yeah.
I mean,
'Cause
electricity
it's
can
like
create
heat.
fire. Yeah, heat. It's definitely a different type of heat.
Yeah, I mean, electricity is just like energy coming from like excited molecules, and
That's
I
what
know that
fire
there's
is.
actual science folks that are mad at me for giving this very Bill Nye the Science Guy explanation. It's fine.
But fuck you, Bill Nye's awesome.
Bill Nye's great. Yeah, so some of these Khalduns seek out thin blood alchemists to work with them as they forge this new ability. And the cult is seeking out thin bloods, and some of these thin bloods are like, I'm not super into this, guys, but I'm willing to take a job because I don't want to die. So yeah, you can have a fun plot of with just a bunch of thin bloods that are like, hey man, I just got bills. Fuck.
Bills.
But I keep having to go to this Superfund site to go meet this weird guy, and I don't know what he's doing. He just have a mad scientist, Tzimisce Khaldunus, that's just like, Wah-ha-ha. What if I just, harness the power of pollution and then just rain havoc across the planet and these lands that are mine? Ha-ha. I don't know what the fuck that Valen voice was.
I like it, though. I like it.
You're having fun with
Then
it.
Blood
I
Alchemists
was.
are like, what am I supposed to do here? And he's like, learn to alchemy more pollution. And it's like, I could burn a tire. Does that count?
I mean, yes, but you know, that's kind of small piece. We got like, you gotta pull some like Exxon numbers.
All right. Magic it is, I guess.
So Setite sorcery.
Ooh. How tempting.
So, right? So the ministers have been practicing their own magic rites for several millennia. It's almost like the Egyptian Empire has existed, or did exist for like...
A long-ass time.
6,000 years? Almost, roughly.
It's a long-ass time.
Old as balls.
Yes.
That's longer than we have years.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's 2024, so they have like
Yeah.
6,000. They had like 6,000 of them.
They had like 3 of us.
Don't make
So
me...
like a whole different calendar.
They do have a different calendar. Don't make me talk about it, because it's a bullshit calendar. Anywho,
So save that for the calendar episode.
Oh, God.
Watch out, guys. Calendar's coming up.
The next Patreon poll, Sarah does a calendar episode. Anywho, while the practice known as Aku is the oldest form of Setite / ministry magic, and is based on ancient Egyptian religious beliefs and occultic practices, and it is most commonly practiced amongst the cult of Set.
Makes sense.
Yeah, there are also other forms of Setite magic that exist around the world, because, you know, those who listen to the ministry episode are aware that when the ministry became a diaspora and they embedded into the religious beliefs of various parts of the planet, they picked up some shit.
A couple things.
Couple things, little knickknacks here and there.
As you do.
Just little explorers.
You gotta have a souvenir.
Yeah. So there is Wangu, which is Voodoo and Hoodoo-based practices following the religions from West Africa into the Afro-Caribbean closed practice systems. A lot of that shit's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Be respectful, goddammit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that one specifically that the ministry does, or is that more I'm drawing a blank. They're one of my favorite clans.
Samdi?
Yeah, the Samdi.
There might be some crossover because of the religious connotations.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to note the fact that Hoodoo and Voodoo is a closed religious practice system, so if you have it in your games, that's fine, but also please be respectful. That was my thing. As much as I'm like Serpent and the Rainbow is one of my favorite films, it's super fucking good. It's also like not the most respectful, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
It does some wild fucking things where you're just like, what is happening? Yeah, and this is real active living religions that still exist currently that people actively practice in parts of the US and the Caribbean and West Africa. So, you know, go learn about it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Another practice of Setite magic is called Sadhana, which is practiced by the Hindu Setites. They are also known as Rakta Sadhu. I don't speak Hindi. I am so sorry. I'm trying my best.
Doing better than I would have, so.
Yeah. These arts can only be practiced by those who have studied within the Brahmin caste within the Hindu Setites. So this is a learned actual practice, not just something you pick up randomly.
Right.
Because
if you're playing this character or you have an NPC of this type, they're probably going to be pretty dedicated to this.
Yes, they're going to be very dedicated. They're going to be super fucked up. But they're also going to be very, like, well-educated and well-respected because they're Brahmin,
right,
which is a very high ranking in the caste system from my understanding.
Right.
I'm not Indian. I'm doing my best. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Anywho, continuing on. We also have the... Oh my god, I feel so bad because I actually took the time to learn how to say this correctly, but we had to push off recording and now it's left my brain. Nahualt? I think it's Nahuatl. But this is practiced by the Talik ministers, who are those who follow the religious practice of the indigenous Aztecs and Mexican folks.
Oh, cool.
Which, this is... I did a whole deep dive about Aztec religious cultures around this. Basically, the quickest way to break this down is A lot of these religious practices are not just limited to the Aztecs themselves, and Aztecs not even technically the correct word for these people, because that was just something that Westerners made up.
Right. Okay.
But it follows a lot of the religious practices of those of the Nahuatl language group from Mexico and Central Americas. So if you want to research that, that is there. And then the last group I wanted to bring up, it's not a school of magic, but it's another ministry cult that they brought up in the Blood Sigils book that I thought was kind of neat. They're called Il Calderon. This is a minister cult based at Italy. See, I'm just fucking up everybody's cultural words.
Yay!
Yeah.
Italian. I can't do it. But this is a cult that uses drugs to break down their converts while practicing their own versions of blood sorceries, as well as taking in thin bloods for various things.
Probably making drugs.
Probably making drugs.
Blood drugs.
Blood drugs.
Blood drugs.
So I just was like, oh, that's neat. More sinister things. But it's an Italian font this time. John, you look contemplative.
Yeah, I can't decide if most, like, when I think sinister thing, I think, like, first, probably it's because of Salo, like, Italian font, when sinister thing, because that title is what an Italian font is for me for some reason. I don't think that's good. I think I should find a better Italian font.
I mean, that movie is very sinister. I wouldn't say it's good or worth your time.
Yeah.
But it has an energy.
It definitely gets in your brain and stays there.
Oh, wait, no. Salo. Do watch Salo. Salo's actually good. I confuse Salo with Serbian film.
Yeah, you were thinking Serbian film.
Sorry.
Serbian film is, in my opinion, not worth the watch. Salo is worth the watch if you're up to it, but I don't think it's a necessary viewing either.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, there's a lot of good reasons to not watch that movie.
Yeah, it's a lot. A lot happens in that movie. But it's also a really good critique of Italian fascism and how post-war Italy kind of handled the situation. So if you look at it like that, you're like, oh, this is great, horrifying satire, as it should be horrifying satire. But, yeah. Anywho, moving on. Other updates within blood sorcery kind of things. I do like that the Blood Sigils book gave us more terminology for some stuff for blood magic. So they kept also referring to blood magic itself as red work or bloodcraft.
Interesting.
I like red work.
I was like,
it seems...
oh, that feels good.
It feels much more masquerade safe, too.
Instead of just being like, yes, betwixt the sigils under the moonlight, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, it's gonna ping.
That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was doing some red work the other day and blah.
Yeah.
That also just sounds like you're murdering someone, though.
Which is kind of metal.
It is, but it's also might get you pinged if they start catching on to that one.
Yeah. Well, I also like it because red work and bloodcraft refers to blood sorcery and thin blood alchemy at the same time, so you're just covering the whole shebang. And I'm like, oh, cool. Saving on my word talking.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Word talking.
Oh my god, eepies.
Yeah.
So red working or blood crafting is practicing the art of either thin blood alchemy or blood sorcery.
That's neat.
Woohoo! So, some updates with thaumaturgy. I'm so sorry, everyone. We're back to the Tremere.
Well, at least we started off well.
I wanted to start off with the Caldurnic sorcery as a treat for you.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Honestly, the more that John gets upset, the more I get into the Tremere, which is kind of fun.
Yes, join
I'm like,
me.
I should go check these guys out.
That's okay. So, with the fall of Vienna and the rise of the Second Inquisition, the fracturing of the pyramid into various houses has caused a lot of material to slip out just into the world. And a lot of it has ended up in the hands of people outside of the clan. Oh no. Oops.
I'll say, in character and out of character, I and Pietra are so excited about being like, so a Tremere Chantry that I live in now, that's kind of mine, I'm gonna spend all of my time in the library. Goodbye.
Most of it's a library, but yes. So, in an attempt to maintain the masquerade, many of those within House Tremere and House Karna have been working with their new Banu Hakim friends to rein in the loose material, just being like, okay guys, problem, time to team up.
So the Banu Hakim is helping both houses?
Yeah, well, House Karna and House Tremere are technically both in the Camarilla, mostly because, I'll get into it in a second, House Karna's doing that whole like, yeah, I'm in the tower, I'm doing things over here.
It's Kind of like old school anarching it.
Yeah, basically. But they can at least be like, oh, this is genuinely a problem for all of our kind. Fuck.
Yeah, that is kind of a masquerade breach.
Yeah. A bunch of grimoires and text and artifacts just loose.
I love it.
God,
That's
what
a
if the
plot line.
mages get them?
Yeah. Or people that don't know any of this shit that just think they're wizards.
Just start fucking around with magical items or tomes.
Yeah.
Hedge wizards or
Wizards,
sorcerers.
hunters. Fucking
Lupines.
A changeling is just like, I like this. And you're just like, oh no.
I think the lupines might be the best bet for someone to get them because they might just get rid of them. I don't think the lupines are like, we should start doing this.
No, I don't
We're
think
going to
they
start
would too
casting
either.
these spells. I think if, as far as like a masquerade breach and a safety, probably the best.
Lupines are definitely the safest.
Yeah.
I'm saying, though, that if they can look at a book and be like, oh, that's how they fucking do it. Because you tell me a Galliard wouldn't sit there and
absolutely.
look through the book and figure out, okay, that's how we fight them.
I just had this mental image. I hate that it was animated in a very like Cartoon Network animation style, but just Lupin just walking down the street, stumbles over a book, picks it up, and goes, fuck this nerd shit, rips a hole into the Umbra and just yeets it as hard as it can into the Umbra and closes it like a zipper and walks away.
Good.
At least if that knowledge went there, most of the things there would be like, you think we don't know this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, useless.
No.
Then some Lasombra's got to go find it.
It's a whole thing. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. The Prepositors, which is something that I think is really, really cool. So within House Tremere, there is a reactionary militant group that is trying to reestablish the old order of the pyramid by emulating the Tremere prior to the Convention of Thorns. They're being more like hired guns, kind of like hitmen task force kind of dudes.
Huh.
Which I'm like, that's metal as fuck.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're essentially occult mercenaries that can be hired out by the Camarilla and frankly kind of anyone to handle any kind of arcane issue, so long as House Tremere benefits in some way from it.
So they don't care necessarily as much about them personally benefiting as much as them helping House Tremere?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. They basically are kind of also acting as a counter to the services that the Banu Hakim have offered for centuries. And they do things like protective work, occult consultations, and general thaumaturgical violence, according to the book. Literally said general thaumaturgical violence.
Nice.
And I'm just like, oh my god. There's a whole lore sheet for them, by the way, in Forbidden Religions, if you think this is interesting.
Nice.
All right, so, the Goretricians.
Yep.
Yeah. So House Goretrix, aka the Goretrero, we've gone into Spanish now.
Here we go.
There we go. Or Gorato. Yeah, Gorato, if you're wanting to be disparaging. Apparently that's a slur version for these guys.
Oh.
These Tremere seek to reestablish the old order of the clan through the use of dominate and presence as a 1-2 punch.
Oof.
And strong-arming people that they see fit while wheeling and dealing in various vampire political spheres, quote-unquote, for the greater good.
Right.
It's hard to say if their leader within this house is actually Goretrix, Tremere wearing Goretrix as a skin suit, or just some other guy.
Saying, I'm Goretrix.
You just put on the hat.
Yeah, just put on the Goretrix twink hat.
I like it.
The twink hat.
The twink hat. Yeah! So I was just like, oh, so that's what quote-unquote House Goretrix is doing. Oh, that's spooky as fuck. A lot of their work apparently is in Taiwan and Brazil. Is like their big epicenters. And it also involves a lot of drugs.
All right.
And I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
It seems like a lot of them are doing drugs.
Drugs is good money.
It is good money.
Oh, so there's also the Carnines, which is House Karna. These Tremere have a kind of blood-bonded cult of personality with Karna herself. If you look at the Karna lore sheet, there's a whole thing about it.
Okay.
Those Tremere within House Karna are far more open-minded about working with and studying magic as a wider scope, including non-vampires and openly working with Thin Bloods.
Huh.
So they might be chilling with mages.
Right.
And maybe the one lupine that is weirdly chill.
Word.
Or changelings. I don't know how changelings are gonna work in 5th ed yet, so I don't know.
It's weird because from what we've gotten, they don't seem like dreaming or
Lost.
It
It seems leaning a little more Lost-ish.
it seems much more like actual like fantasy fairy stuff going on, but
Yeah.
I talked about that in a recent episode, so I won't get into it. But we also have Hunter as our main source for that, which is not a reliable
No.
narrator necessarily.
Yeah.
No.
If it's the changelings that are actually worth being hunted, they're probably, at least according to older editions, not the main ones.
Yeah, well, if they're going the Lost way, there'll be the Changeling Lost, which are like the player characters, and then there's like the Archfey that are in Arcadia, and that's probably what's being hunted, but bleh. That's a whole other episode. Anyways, wrapping up on House Karna. House Karna has preferred to remain distant from House Tremere, but they've also not actively and openly decided to work with the Anarch movement, so they're still in the Camarilla.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll maybe help Anarchs with things 'cause they're like, oh, you're neat,
Right.
but
Go you.
go you. House Epismus. These guys are working on making their own magical practices independently, mostly within the Anarch movement or by themselves.
Yeah, that's neat.
They've been sharing these magical practices openly with anybody in the movement through zines and encrypted messages. So if you're in the Anarch movement, you just want to learn magic, you just gotta find a guy.
That's wild.
Which is cool, but also horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of those within House Epismus have gone underground with being secretive, and others have opened up to having a kind of co-op lab situation.
Like a makerspace?
Yeah!
What the fuck?
But for magic!
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I like that, but I don't like that.
yeah, it's like, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Wait
gonna
a
go
second.
so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just like, there is so much you can do with that narratively, and that I'm like, that's cool. You guys didn't write a lot, but holy shit.
I wonder how much, like, the ratio or the number of masquerade breaches increases if, like, a group of House Epismus people move
so
into
much.
the city, right?
If it's just one
It's
guy
like-
that's just like the oh god, I can't remember what cartoon this is from, but the guy that's like, I'm not paying taxes.
I do not remember.
Oh,
this.
it's okay. It's very, if you get the House Epismus guy who's very just like Ron Swanson,
Yeah.
kind of a guy where it's just him by himself just doing whatever the fuck he's doing, probably not so much.
Not too bad.
But if you have one of these radical guys that's like
Making zines.
making
Yeah.
zines and doing lines of blood coke, yeah, probably really high.
I also imagine, though, I don't think we'll have time for it. Although I thought it would be funny. I was looking on Reddit. I looked up some cool examples of blood rituals that people on Reddit are doing over on the Wiccan subreddits
Oh,
and
boy.
stuff.
God.
But I like to think it's funny that none of their rituals are successful, but it's only because they're not vampires.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing real rituals, but they are not of the blood, and so they're just like, they're just wasting it. Like,
I
they
love
got one of
that.
these zines, and like, they're doing everything right.
Mhm.
They're just not a vampire, so...
They're just some guy. Just like, look,
I love this.
look, man, I look, it's part of my thing. I just like banging hot goth chicks. And what gets hot goth chicks over than doing spooky shit and lighting candles? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you could also just like collect her bones and cool rocks, but like, okay. Or just some poor other person that's just like, no, I really believe in this. I'm communing with Hecate. And we're like, sure, girl.
Get it.
Get it, I guess.
That would make you, like, a prime target to get turned into House Tremere, though.
Yeah, that's how you accidentally end up getting into House Tremere. You just get a zine from House of Hismus, you're doing shit, and they're like, okay, this is a gigantic masquerade breach, but I appreciate your moxie, so,
You did a great job. Do you want to do it the correct way now?
yeah. You want to do it for realsies?
Like, with the right blood?
Here, drink this, shut up.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your next character.
Mary Chrysler. So last part with the Tremere is what is also known as solitarchies.
That's fun.
Solitarchies.
Yeah. So, Chantries have kind of become independent, because of the pyramid kind of doesn't really exist. Some of them are doing this because they're like, oh, we're free now. I can go do my own thing. And other ones are just like, it's like a siege kind of a situation where they've lost all comms to like upper management and they're just like, fuck,
What do we do?
what do I do?
What do you do when you find out you're now the top of the pyramid?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. It becomes very, Land of the Dead Dead. Is it the third one?
Yeah, that's like the fourth one. The third one is the one where they're like in the underground military bunker.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. I thought you were talking
Day
about
of the Dead.
Okay, I thought you meant City of the Dead.
Yeah,
is the one where they're in the actual like skyscrapers, right? And they have, like,
that was it. No. I was thinking of the one where they're in the military bunker.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I love that movie. It's really good. That's a hard one to just put on during a movie night because it's very like, ugh.
That is the biggest bummer of all them, which is like
Yes.
already like rough.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can flavor your rogue chantries how you like for your chronicles. Each of these entities vary widely from one location to the next in terms of materials held within and the mindset of those within the walls of said solitarchy. Some have gone on lockdown mode and are just waiting for a return to normalcy and all of this to blow over.
Sure.
Some have fallen into various forms of cult of personality, ranging from the whole political spectrum of options and various beliefs and practices. Some have run wild with research and experiments that even the pyramid had held them back from doing before. It's, as terrible as the pyramid is, sometimes there's some groups where you're just like, you needed somebody to stop you from doing the crazy thing.
Yeah, sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
I'm imagining, I can't remember the name of the movie now. It's a office horror film where
I think I know what you're talking about.
they all of a sudden there's just like a big lockdown and everyone
Belko
experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. That was really fun. Honestly, though, if you get a chance to see it, Belko Experiment, I do recommend.
Yeah, it is a bleak one.
Yeah.
It is a bleak one, but it's got a fun cast.
Yeah, but you also get to watch the actor that plays Dr. Cox just murder the shit out of people with a big knife.
That's pretty cool.
It's a pretty fun movie.
It is a brutal film, but I imagine just like borderline some chantries turning into like, well, it's just us. Now we're all backstabbing each other. Like no one leaves till one of us is in charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that. There could be some that are just like, okay, we're by ourselves. I guess I gotta learn how to do politics now.
Or the other office scenario where like you lose one or two people and then it's just like, all right, you're taking on all that work, but they're doing it all the way up the pyramid. They're like, well, if it's just us, we have to do everything now. You get 3 promotions and 8 new responsibilities.
Yay.
Damn.
You're doing the work of 3 with the pay of not even 1.
Damn.
Yeah.
I assume that's a lot of
them. Yeah. So you could have fun with kind of doing a like Fallout series vault system of various chantries and libraries in your games if you so desire, that have just, because they've lost their central control center, they're just like, I've gone bananas. We're all Dave now.
That Oops Ultramere game we talked about sounding more and more fun.
Yeah. I deeply appreciate V5 for rehabilitating the Tremere into a, like, oh no, we're going to examine how they're fucked up, but we're also going to make this kind of kooky and fun. And I'm like, yeah.
I like that there's just more variety. Like, there's a lot of different groups now. It's a little bit easier to kind of form them into whatever kind of a cult practice you want them to be.
Hell yeah.
And a little less, well, that's how the pyramid does it.
There's only the pyramid. I'm like, not anymore, bitches. So, next thing, Duran Kai. There is a canonical acknowledgement that Duran Kai has roots within the Banu Hakim clan tracing back to the Neolithic era.
Damn.
According to the Blood Sigils book. Which I'm like, that's cool. So far as I can tell, that is the oldest form of blood sorcery that we have canonically mentioned in the game.
Yep.
Asterix, I have not read through Gehenna Wars. So if there's anything else in there, as of recording, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm going to college at the same time and haven't read it. So, Duran Kai works by forming covenants with spirits, both inner and outer, through the use of amulets, astrology, and entering transcendental states through deep meditation, acts of quote-unquote intense sensory overload, and psychoactive drugs.
Oh, I think I see some of those girlies on Instagram.
Oh, yes.
They're usually pretty unkempt.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's sad being a Duran Kai member, though, and a vampire. You'll never be able to sun that perineum.
God damn it. I'm so upset.
Full moon. You just have to do it on a full moon.
You can't pee. You can't drink your pee. There's another thing those people seem to like to do they can't do.
Oh, no.
Coffee enema is still good, though.
Yeah.
Maybe like a really, really, really blood-bound ghoul?
Yeah, or that's what the thin
Or
bloods are for.
a childer.
Well, I was going to mention that canonically from previous editions, and it is now mentioned officially within V5, there was Caliph, which is a hashish fertilized with vitae.
Oh.
That was a very prized component for rituals within this practice. Unfortunately, now it is extraordinarily rare after the fall of Alamut, which was the holy mountain city that the Banu Hakim were centered in.
Dang.
It fell to the Sabbat.
Now the bloodweed's
Oops.
gone.
The bloodweed is gone.
Well, the bloodweed is gone, and the Sabbat have it.
Yeah.
So
The
the
blood-
Sabbat are just getting stoned as hell on bloodweed.
Yeah.
That's probably not good.
No.
Yeah, it's probably not good.
There's blood sorcery stuff in blood sigils if you want to grow your own bloodweed.
I was about to say that'd be cool. Make a hydroponic style like drug dealer. Where you're just like, I'm
Yeah.
growing bloodweed and selling it to vampires.
Oh yeah, no, that absolutely is a thing. Have at it. Please have fun with that. So, but yeah, so this like holy hashish herb thing that was used for transcendental meditations and things and is now, well, can't find the good shit now. So now you're just like trying your best.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
But also heck.
Dang.
There is a term that's brought up in the book called Ashapu, which is a Banu Hakim sorcerer that is most often seeking some sort of metaphysical enlightenment.
Okay.
At least the Banu Hakim sorcerers that are wandering around seem to be a little bit more chill and a little bit more hippie-ish
Mm-hmm.
compared to their counterparts now on the mountain that are just like, Urshiki's really cool. I'm gonna stab everybody that doesn't agree with him. And it's like, whoa, oh no, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
But there is debate within the Banu Hakim whether reviving these ancient practices is safe or even a wise choice, let alone how these practices may or may not conflict with various religious beliefs within the clan. There is various forms of occultic practices that overlap with various cultures that are Islamic, and Islam is a very dense religion with a lot of different beliefs and things. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to act like I fucking know, so handle that responsibly, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. But with the fall of Alamut to the Sabbat, this has also fractured the Banu Hakim in a way that they are also forced to work with their centuries-old enemies of the Tremere, especially as the Gehenna Wars are still raging on their ancestral homelands.
Great.
So it's like the worst odd couples buddy comedy with these two clans, and it's super funny. It's like, oh no. Sorry, there was a note that I wrote for myself, and I was like, I've already acknowledged I've not read Gehenna Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk about it more when I am doing the Banu Hakim episode, which you gotta vote for if you're a patron. So,
Yeah.
huzzah. There are several Banu Hakim that have taken to buying and selling arcane rites and artifacts just to survive, because they're just like, well, everything's fucked.
Magic dealer.
Yeah.
I bet they're
What you buying?
thankful. I bet they're very thankful that these Tremere chantries are leaking.
Oh, yeah.
But that's great for business.
Oh, super good.
And it's weird that they were the ones who were told that this happened, and they were supposed to help.
Yep.
Recollect that for them.
They're like, yeah, see, well, look, I have it contained.
Now go get it.
I'll sell it to an appropriate person who actually knows how to use this appropriately, as opposed to...
The Tremere who lost it.
Yeah, because fuck them. There are also some other Banu Hakim that have taken to chronicling the entire red work scene of their cities.
Whoa.
Whether this is to preserve the work that is being done or to note down those who are abusing their powers is hard to say. They might be doing arcane Batman.
Yep.
It is fairly common within blood crafting circles for the Banu to become regulators within the scene. They just kind of naturally are just like, stop doing magic crimes.
I hear you were starting to look into like demons and stuff. Probably shouldn't do that, should you?
Stop it. I'm now just imagining occult hot fuzz. Honestly, that would be super fun.
The movie almost is already that.
Yeah. All right, so next chunk, the Sabbat and Nodist. Those K-Knights of the Sabbat that have been thriving upon the chaos, they're also thriving on the fact that red work is such an easily accessible thing now. They're just like, oh, magic? Just loose?
Let's do it.
I can just have this? I can just have this.
I don't have to work for it this time.
Oh my god. And also, there's just all these little thin bloods. They're a potent of Gehenna. I might as well, make them work. Everything to stop the antediluvians.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Some of these K-Knights may cut deals with folks that turn out to be kind of weird monkey's paw situations. And they may also be, the Sabbat themselves may be testing you to see if you're worth diablerizing, because if you're capable of handling and knowing of the artifacts that they're bringing to you, they just go, neat.
nom 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 nom.
Yeah. Come into this van that I totally just did not scratch out free candy and it says no diableries here.
Right. Only free magic artifacts.
Only free magic artifacts and hookers. I do want to note that it is canon both Old World of Darkness and V5 that there are Nautis that are interested in just researching ancient texts, and they're not fanatical cannibals. Just the sections in V5 where they were talking about this specifically in the Blood Sigils books made it sound like Nautis and Sabbat were pretty much interchangeable and they're all just psychos.
Right.
And I'm like, oh?
Yeah. There's a lot of Nautists in the Sabbat.
Yeah.
But...
And I'm not saying you being a Nautist doesn't mean you're just going to be chowing down on everybody because you have to go fight God. But there's some folks that are just fucking nerds. There's like, I just want to understand our history, man. Yeah. And the last little thing I'm going to note on this chunk is ritual circles. It's on page 31 in Sigils, if anybody's interested. Which ritual circles are where both mortals and vampire magic and their practitioners can gather around and hang out into like little occult groups and secret societies and various things like that.
That's neat.
Could be where recruiting is happening, exchanging of ideas, various things. But as an open acknowledgement that vampires are just doing magic with people. That is just a thing.
Huh.
Probably a lot of mages, and if they end up being in V5, I'm sure they will, to some capacity, sorcerers, hedge mages, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there will be a little note about that in a bit.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is cool, but also little. So, gonna rush slightly quickly, and I apologize. We're gonna talk a bit about the occult market. I mostly wanted to talk about this because it's a cool thing that there's a lot of build up for in the Blood Sigils book, and you don't have to have blood sorcery characters to use this for your games. So, hurrah! So, Hunter, do you want to read the quote?
Sure. In most markets, the concept of a clean deal is a fantasy. Red working scenes don't usually have formal structure. Their markets get managed by either self-appointed judges, Abana Hakim often takes the role for themselves, or by hope in tit-for-tat game theory. You can't cheat too often and expect anyone else to deal with you. Sales aren't on the record, and there are no refunds. Sigils, page 45.
Let's go. So, artifacts and supplies. There is a list of different locations, shops, warehouses, repositories, with how a player may interact with them, and plot guidelines for each of these locations in the Blood Sigils books on pages 33 through 43.
Nice.
There's a fuckload. I'm not going to read them all. It's really good info if you just need to pull something out of your ass.
Hell yeah.
Or you have players that are like, we're doing fucked up shit. I'm like, oh, are you now? Time to hurt you with the plot. Did want to make a quick note. There's a whole section about Holy Ground on page 36 through 38 that notes that vampiric sorcery is intertwined with mortal magic practices, which in turn entangle with human faith.
What?
Mm-hmm. Holy Ground can quicken up to having the time required for ritual casting, along with other effects.
Oh.
There's also the risk of a vampire having issues with certain holy symbols due to banes or folkloric blocks. You might also run into mortals that have true faith.
Yeah.
Which is also a problem. Which, being on Holy Ground, gives bonuses to the mortals that have true faith.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Or even not being able to enter the Holy Ground itself, just depending on how you phrased or worded your folkloric blocks or banes or various other things. So that's kind of a cool catch-22 of, like, vampires can utilize Holy Ground and can go upon it. They're not inextricably banned from it unless you have a specific character flaw for it. But everybody can catch these hands, these god hands, if there's a true faith guy that is on Holy Ground, and then you're just like, oh no, he's swoller here. Fuck.
That, I feel like, is a good reason for the La Sombra to have kept with the whole church thing, too.
Yeah.
It's like, we're already here, we just got a basement.
Yeah, they might be doing abyss mysticism. Other spooky. It's fine, don't worry about it.
Also, double scary if you've got mages in your game. There are certain mages whose magic works through holy belief.
Yeah.
Which means there's a chance that they have true faith. And that also, the Holy Land would probably make all their magic work better.
Yep.
Don't piss them off if you need that land.
Yep. Also, if you just need to build, as a storyteller, a really swole as fuck antagonist, there you go.
Yep. Muscle cleric.
Muscle cleric. He's not really actually swole. He's just juiced up on the power of the Lord.
He's got a swollen heart. And not in the illness kind of way, in the loving God kind of way.
Yeah. Just having a mom who's just like really about it. Continuing on. Artifact and ingredient hunting. There's a section in Sigils 43 through 46, which gives guidelines to building plot around gathering occult wares, along with guides on how to price these items and tasks out in terms of skills and boons.
Oh, cool.
So, super helpful guide. Please use it. My fucking around with the math on my own for that was like, actually, yeah, this is pretty well balanced and super useful.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I love me a table.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. Also, artifacts, ingredients, and grimoires. If you go to Sigils, pages 130 to 145 has guidelines for various arcane artifacts, special ingredients, and sample magic tomes for games, and optional plot hooks for some of these items.
Yo.
Interesting.
Which is super cool. And if you want further artifacts, if you go to the occult artifacts lore sheet in the Chicago Folios on page 166, there's a whole lore sheet there. So there's tons of just already generated stuff you guys can use. Use it.
Boom, boom.
Woo. Services. Things that I'm just like, more things that people can have for like contacts or I knows a guy or allies and all sorts of shit that I think are cool.
Yeah.
And might be helpful. So there's people known that are within like the collectors circuit in the market. So you have fanciers. They collect magic, but they have no desire or ability to use it.
Huh.
They're just like magic weeaboos.
Huh.
It's like,
Okay.
it's a status thing or a flex thing, or they're just like, I think it's neat.
Right.
You know, a Toreador who just finds, like, magic items beautiful, like, that's their, for lack of a better term, that's their special interest. Like, they don't
Just their
actually use it.
hyperfixation?
They just, like, buy them, keep them, collect them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. As
They like to look at them with aspects on.
Oh, yeah. Just like, ooh, shapes and colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's their sensory fruit.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's potentially you could have a Zamitzi who does not know of Caldonic sorcery yet, but they're just like, it's part of my horde.
Yeah,
And you're just
absolutely.
like, what the fuck? All right. There's also Seekers. This is someone who collects magical items with the goal of learning the craft at some point, and they may or may not actually understand what they have.
Makes sense.
This can range from mortals that are just like, I'm a wizard, and you're like, sure, bud, to a fancier who's trying to be like, oh, you know what, I think I might maybe...
I might give this a shot.
Yeah.
Or an actual wizard.
Yeah. And then there's market rats. This is somebody who can't use magic, but knows what they are handling and seeks to haggle and make a profit for themselves.
Nice.
Just love the idea of a Nosferatu who's like got all these dots in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just got like a magic pawn shop in a sewer.
Hell yes.
I'm just like, hell yeah.
You guys kind of dealt with a guy like that in my Hunter game.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was...
Tom.
Mm-hmm. Tom was great, but a lot.
Yeah, he was fun.
He was fun. So there's also...
You didn't like him. Everyone
No.
else did.
Well,
It's because...
to be fair, Wyatt didn't like most people.
I think you also thought he was a fairy.
Or he was keeping you from
I
fairy
remember
things.
him now. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, but yes, I do remember him now. I'm still not convinced he wasn't, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, you know.
He refused to answer any questions directly.
Well, he said you could call him Tom.
Asked what his name was.
Everyone calls him Tom.
Yeah.
I need you guys to understand, Tom was an NPC inside of a, I'm going to say, cursed flea market.
Well,
The flea market wasn't cursed.
Yes, it was.
Well,
it was infinite.
It became an infinite flea market we couldn't escape from, and then we ended up at a fucking cursed farm with a terrible corn monster.
yeah, I guess you never discovered what was really going on. Sure, it was cursed.
It's, I haven't gotten that far yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anywho, touts. These are essentially intel brokers of sorts. There's rumor mongers. They buy and sell social intel, the who's who's, blind items, and gossip kind of information. Harpies, essentially.
Blind
okay.
items?
Yeah, that's kind of a thing from like celebrity gossip columns where they're like, well, I heard somebody said a thing
Oh,
about...
right.
It's
Right.
basically just anything that can't be sourced. It's
Right.
information that you can't, like, verify.
I got you.
Yeah. There's journalists. These are people that research organizations, ops, scenes, and often their recordings and info are brought back to whatever their home base social group is,
Mhm.
and they sell and get acclaim for their work.
Interesting.
I want to make a character who is a journalist. It
Like
just
just-
sounds fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Just like, I'm going to embed myself with the anarchs and learn their ways and then come back and...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That kind of shit. Very Hunter S. Thompson, potentially. And then there's also real estate agents. These are people that research locations, and these can range from nexuses, torpid elders, artifacts, and so on. Some may even deal in oddities, havens, and various other businesses for profit. Which I'm just like, that's just a cool NPC to just have in contact. There's also cleaners. These are typically Bana Hakim who have specialized in handling problems. This can range from removing corpses, running interference against mortal law enforcement, espionage against sect infiltration, and covering up when magic goes wrong.
Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Chemist. These are vampires who apply their chemistry knowledge to blood sorcery.
Cool.
They typically have an actual chemistry degree. They were chemists or some sort of other kind of scientist in their mortal life. And in unlife, they tend to turn away from the arcane and find molecular substitutes to various concoctions, poisons, and potions from centuries past.
Interesting.
So
that's neat.
Yeah, they're just like looking. I was like, this is all hooey. They're still doing blood magic though.
Yeah. You just refuse to accept.
Yeah. So if you want to just go full Herbert West with it, which I'm always down for, I just fucking love that.
That was my first vampire character, basically.
Hell yeah. There's also mortal magic. Neat. Oh no! So we have street sorcerers. These are mortals that don't wield blood sorcery, but they have some sort of artifact, access to a nexus, a wraith. They've done some sort of sacrifice. Something has happened, and now allows them to use magic. It's typically weird, wonky, weak, and dangerous for them and everyone around them.
Nice.
A plot of so many 80s movies where they're like, I found this thing. Oh, you have the talisman now. You can do magic. And they're just like, whoa, wacky shenanigans.
The ice cream machines are gonna overflow.
Yeah, and then the families are splatted.
Oh, shit. It's just trying to make the ice creams overflow.
Yes, and then there's mages, aka magicians, that are mentioned all the way back into the core book.
Nice.
I don't like in the core book they're called magicians. I'm like, they're mages. Just, why are you fibbing?
Magician.
Magician. God damn it.
It's just an abbreviation.
These quote-unquote awakened will workers are capable of bending reality in various ways, limited by their belief in paradigm, the power of their arete, and paradox, a force that is made up of the consensus of reality, quote-unquote, that will check a mage for bending reality too far. That was my attempt at trying to explain a mage in one sentence.
If you want a better explanation of mage, way long ago I did a series on other supernaturals of the World of Darkness. There's a whole third of an episode on mage based on the information that we had. And some of the older editions. And I promise when it comes out, we'll get a mage month.
Oh yeah, there will be mage month.
It might have to be mage 2 month.
If you
we'll see how it goes.
Currently, if you want your Oops All Mages information, just go check out Mage the podcast.
Yeah. Great show.
Great show. Love them. They're great. The last thing I want to talk about for this episode is sorcery tattoos.
Cool.
These exist on page 28 and 29 of the Blood Sigils, which includes a blood sigil. Roll credits. I said it.
Oh, you said the title.
I did. Blood Sigil is a complex blood sorcery tattoo that holds information, and there's more information on how blood sigils work in the ritual for this, in the Player's Guide, and the Blood Sigils book. So you can basically be a tattoo Johnny Mnemonic of stuff. Which I think is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Or, am I remembering the movie's name correctly? A Memento?
Yes. Yes. There is a Memento.
You could be a Memento man.
You can be a Mentos vampire.
That's the one about the guy who can't remember anything.
Yes.
He's got all the tattoos.
Yes. You're
correct.
correct.
That's another movie I haven't seen since I was probably like 14.
That's fair. But yeah, I'm just like, oh my god, you can do so much plot with just that ritual alone.
Yeah.
It's also a good way to circumnavigate sharing critical information and hiding it from like the Second Inquisition and things. It's like, well, you can't trace the info. It's in a guy. Just don't get that guy caught.
You can trace a guy. You just need some of that, like, thin see-through paper.
Tracing paper?
Yeah.
I thought you said you're going to have the guy, like, lay down and then
or wax
do
paper.
A chalk outline.
Well, that would work, too, but that wouldn't get the tattoos. You wouldn't get the information. That'd just be silly.
I like the idea of them tattooing it on, like, someone's back as the messenger so that they can't even actually see what it is.
Yeah, you can get pretty metal with it if you so desire. Speaking of metal, there's cauterists.
Oh.
These are people that are generally hired by the tower for branding thin bloods in the process that is purposely painful and humiliating.
Bummer.
Super
So
bummer.
these are dicks.
These guys are assholes.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Fucking turds.
Mm-hmm. All cotterists are bastards.
Oh, I just thought of something awful.
Whoa, no, what?
Imagine if you learned like the spell or however that works, and you just put it on someone who was definitely not a thin blood, but now they were marked as one and had to explain how they have non-thin blood abilities.
Yep.
But are marked as a thin blood. Did you do that illegal thing?
Mm-hmm.
You could really ruin someone's life with that.
Oh yeah, this can go.
Yeah.
Oof.
I would borderline let a player take that as a flaw when they're making a character.
Oh no!
It's like, okay, but yeah, you got marked as a thin blood. You're not, but you have it now.
Get fucked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's also a historian, which are vampires that use tattooing as a way of documenting events and retelling stories through symbols and oral traditions.
Cool.
Which is cool. And then the last one is the ritualist, and these are vampiric tattooers that document sorceries, rituals, and thus turn their clients into walking grimoires.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's neat.
That's neat. So that's the occult market.
Boop, 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 boop,
Look at
boop.
all
Come on
these.
down to the occult market.
Look at all these character tropes and types that you can have as NPCs or player characters.
It's a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of cool stuff.
I got a final thought here.
Yo.
And it is definitely one, if you're like, I need more of this.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's any crossover between like goblin markets and these, which I know we don't have changeling yet, so goblin markets are not at all in V5. But
I would say if you had the right connections, you could probably get there for your table if you so desire, or at least have somebody that's going to run an errand for you to there if you wish.
there's probably a guy who's like, yeah, I move my stall over to the vampire market once a week, and if they need to know and they have the right kind of pay, maybe I'll let them know.
Look, some of those old fucks are sitting on some like really important shit, and you just kind of have to pretend to be friends with them long enough.
You bring all the junk to their market and you're like, no, this is really important to us. Buy it and find out why.
Turns out it's one of those toys from the 90s where it was the little fairy with the wings, and you pull the string and they just go whoop and spin in the air.
Oh yeah, I forget what those are called. My sister had one of
Like
those.
Sky Dancers or something.
Yeah, that was it. Sky Dancers.
How you doing, John?
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I liked those toys that had the little wires and the wheel that went around.
Oh yeah, those
That
are
is-
super fun.
Unrelated but fun.
Yes.
I'm just saying a toy that I liked because I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So, for those who did not catch it earlier in the episode, this blood I punched the table. This episode with Blood Sorcery 201, I ended up finding a lot of information because, good news, the Blood Sigils book is very dense with lots of cool and useful information.
She thick.
She thick as fuck, boy. And so this will be a two-parter. There'll be more info next episode on how to craft your own rituals,
That's neat.
along with some other
Ooh.
cool things that I have got cooked up for you. A brewing, if you will. My own red work.
That's neat.
Got my own theories, but
Yes.
interesting. Just how they set up crafting your own rituals and how it might lead into mage and crafting your own spells.
Yeah.
It's might end up being a similar. I don't know. We'll see.
Give us Mage 5.
Take your time. Take your time
Take
on
your
that
time.
one. That's the one that's gonna need the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But we're hyped for it. We're ready. We're willing. We're able. Speaking of able, you should be able to check out Paralyze. 'Cause
Yeah.
they do the music for us, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep, they're on Bandcamp.
Yep, they're on Bandcamp. Buy the stuff. Give them listens. Give them doll hairs. They do good stuff. We exist on the internet. I don't know why I have Twitter listed here. We don't fucking use it. Instagram, though, we do exist on as Blank Bodies Pod. And on TikTok as Blank Bodies Podcast.
That's true. We're also on Patreon. If you like what we're doing and you'd like to throw us a couple bucks to support us, we have all kinds of tiers, from everything from getting into our special patron chat on our Discord and getting a cool little title, to a voting tier where you get all kinds of extra resources and show notes. We've got character sketches done by Sarah.
Woo.
We've got blood. We've got all kinds of stuff. And you get, no matter what tier you join, you get our monthly patron episode. And because we fell a little bit behind because of Gen Con, we got 2 coming up for you this month. So I did a double poll.
Oh me. Oh my.
A big old classic DP, the double poll.
Big
Double
old
poll.
Dr. Pepper. That's what you were hinting at, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. On this night of a half moon.
Yes. The
Yes.
13th on a Friday.
It
Oh
is-
wait, I didn't mean to date us. Oh no, guys.
You've date doxed us.
Oh no. Well, we did that already when he posted the map, and then
That's fair.
Yeah.
that information was out. It's just not a puzzle anymore. Congratulations if you figured that out by the end of the episode, though.
Huzzah!
You win a prize, and that's me saying congratulations. That's your prize.
Your prize is a metaphysical gold star that we will place gently upon your forehead.
Yep, I gotta say, should we go ahead and give him a shout out since 2 people seem to figure it out already?
What?
Yeah, Rock Vocal Gangrel just responded with ley lines,
Mhm.
and then Spooky Plant Gangrel says, "I'm calling it. It's an Easter egg for the app. Lol."
The 2 gangrel just like pinged their brain cells together and
Yeah,
were like, we did it.
The gangrel would know about the ley lines. I think. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Just our
Yep.
2 Discord server Orange Cats. Speaking of, we do have a community Discord. You should come hang out. People share cool stuff. People talk about music and gaming stuff. People run games and hang out. We're in there.
Yeah, and it's completely
Yeah.
free. I know we have some stuff that's really related to our Patreon, but you can just join and come hang out, join the community.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yes, and I might be workshopping some future project things in the Patreon chat
Bum, 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 bum.
for those that participate. If not, you can come say hi and I'll just share like stupid memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that I get overwhelmed, and I have a little over a month worth of episodes I'm working on, so I'll probably be asking questions, and they'll be like, hey, what do you guys want to hear about?
Yeah.
They're not always the formal polls, because I can't wait a week. So that's when I go into that chat and is like, which of these sounds better?
Yeah. You
I just get on there intermittently and play video games.
Yeah, which is fun. Cool.
We also
Awesome.
have games going on.
There
Yeah.
are games.
Sorry.
You're good. Also, we're still trunking our way to the $500 a month goal, where we'll do more episodes in a month on top of all the other goodies we do, and the coveted, the delectable, the horrifying milk
Lactose episode.
in World of Darkness episode.
Yes.
Vampiric lactate? No,
That
lactose.
sounds like a weird fetish search.
Vampiric lactose?
Yeah. Just big
Hunter, are you about to
titty
search that?
vampires.
Are you surprised?
No.
No, not at all, but here we are.
I don't like the picture that came up. I'm gonna post that in the patron chat too, and I'm gonna tag the
No.
people who got it right to really throw them off.
No! Horrifying.
It is a horrifying picture, but
Oh no.
not in the. It's not milk related. Well, it's barely milk related.
Congratulations, friends. That's your prize.
That's your gold
Yep.
star. What is it? Is it tittied vampires or no?
No, it's a weird
Oh,
picture
no.
of a baby
Uh-huh.
in a vampire costume.
No.
But then it's got like vampire teeth and like a milk mustache, and there's milk splashes
I
everywhere.
hate this.
That's terrifying.
I hate this so much.
And for some reason, it's definitely a stock image.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Hunter, why?
I found it.
We gotta go to bed. This is horrifying.
Hey,
I wanna-
friends.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I hate it.
I love the world of stock images. That's what I should have gone to school for.
Making stock images.
I could come up with ideas like that and get
It's
paid.
True.
Fucking, we need to go to bed. John, help us escape, please.
Yeah. Hey, friends, listeners.
I got in there that time.
That's good.
Oh
we
my
got some
God.
stereo in.